give kind of a synopsis of the inspiration of how this poem came about. This poem came at the time that I was admitted at the hospital. And during that time, we used to have this hen. And when you had the cleaners in the hospital at the time, after cleaning, you would find out that the hen would come with its chicks and try by all means that she scatters everything that was being already prepared. So as I recite the poem, you would find a portion of it that talks about this particular hen. And here it goes. As a solution to all my trembles, I rushed to her when soaked in troubles. On her sable, my nap head covered with a pad to get a rest from global plights. She nurtured me from nothing when chances of my survival were daunting. My days gossiped and mystified by chanting, tutored me everything and kept me breathing by her dotting. When father frowns in anguish, she smiles though in despair. Yes, he will make it, was always her dream, even in the face of fiasco. She clings on when her daddy succumbed to separation, a temptation which distant generations. With a dagger it splits sharply, in the heart it strokes shockingly, crafting scars which never heals cheaply. She never relent in her duties, taking pride, trekking through cities as she balanced her pan of cookies to buy and sell to feed her progenies who've become her business buddies. She's the hen that leads chicks to food, use her claws to scatter all decorations, knowing she's watched. She turned blind, knowing we gossip. She turned deaf, but she focuses to feed. She's the soldier bee that provides protection. Protect the queen in her expedition, guard the colony against invasion, attack against destruction, and defend suspicion. Like a cow. Like a cow, she intruded on farms but remained faithful as her kindred, noting nothing but the fate and keeping nothing but her fate. She warmed for 9 or more, fell sick for months with nausea. Watch her skin swell, stretch, and tear, struggle, and went through great pain to beget. She becomes the nurse, the chef, the maid, the surfer, the teacher, and best friend. She is my mother, his mother, her mother, our mother, who don't mother, neither border, the pure African mother. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sajo A.K. Jaju. What a wonderful poem. Thank you very much. Now I would like to call on Mr. Mohamed Ba. Mr. Mohamed Ba? Mohamed?
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Yes, hello.
So, Dija, thank you very much. And I want to start by apologizing for joining late. Um, so, just a quick one. Again, we're thankful to everybody for the opportunity for us being back again. And like it was said during the last meeting we had, this is something that we are all doing together. No single person can shoulder all of this responsibility. So for that being the case, we want to recognize each and everybody's contribution because in the absence of any of those, we would not necessarily have been able to have what we've been having. And it's undeniable that since the beginning of this initiative up to today, all of us will admit that we have at least been able to learn a thing or two. And that is clearly what the purpose is at the end of the day. So before we get started, I want to just a quick information. Today's encounter, really, because it is going to be a tough contest. So we've decided, because they would say, even lions. I do not know where lions usually reside at, but even if you go to a place where lions usually reside, you realize that lions themselves will tell you we are all lions, but one of us is more of a lion than all of us. So because today's debate is one that is really going to be a very tough contest, we have also decided as adjudicators that today's contest should really be given to one who is more of an adjudicator than all of us put together. So today's encounter is going to be adjudicated by no other than Ms. Aissatou Sarr. She's a or fellow adjudicator, and then she's been part of it. I think the first debate that was held, she adjudicated it with Basiru, but she was battling with network, and as a result, the debate ended up being adjudicated by a single individual. So we hope and pray the same thing doesn't happen today. So like I said, she's going to be the one adjudicating today's session. Meanwhile, I'll also be on board to ensure that if there are any eventualities and there's a need for somebody to step in, I would be available to do that. Yeah, in that case, again, thanks everybody, and back to you, DJ.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Like I said, most of us are on exams, so we like to fast track it. Mohammed, I would still like to call you and your team to start the debate, please.
Yes, thank you very much,
Just a
DJ.
quick
Thank you.
reminder.
And thank you very much. Thank you again, DJ. So, like I said, today's debate is going to be adjudicated by Madam Aissatou Sarr. So, Aissatou Sarr, if you're available, please, the floor is all yours. I'm not too sure. The adjudicator is set. I'll have to confirm because I told her before she gets to be given the floor, certain remarks have to be made. Yeah, so I'll have to confirm with her to be certain that she's with us. Yes. Come back.
Greetings, Mohammed. Hello, everyone.
Sorry, Aisha, we're not able to hear you.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I am Aissatou Sarr. I apologize for joining late. So, Mohammed, I think we can start the debate now. Do we have all the participants here? Do we have all the participants? Okay, that's very good. So I think we can go through the adjudication scheme, or are you guys already familiar with it? If you are already familiar with it, then I think we can start with the debate. Okay, so I think we can start the debate. It's already some minutes after 3. So the motion before the House today reads, this House believes the prosecution of former President Yahya Jammeh is essential for national healing. And we have Morocco going for the motion, and we have Saudi Arabia going against the motion. So if the House is set, we can please have Team Morocco. Before you start, you can please tell us your name and you proceed.
Assalamu alaikum. I hope I am
Sorry.
both audible and visible.
Yes, you are audible.
Am I visible?
You are visible. You are visible.
Thank you.
Sorry. Mohammed, can you please be the timekeeper? Take the time.
Do I start? I'm wondering if my time has started.
Sorry, your time. Your time has not started yet. Let
Oh,
me set. Let me set the time, and I'll let you know.
no problem.
Well, you can please start. Your time starts now.
Mr. Speaker, adjudicators, members of the government and opposition branches, other audience here present, good day. My name is Awakante, and as the Prime Minister for this debate, I rise to strongly propose the motion that says this House believes that the prosecution of former President Yahya Jammeh is essential for national healing. Mr. Speaker, this will be the structure of my debate. I will first of all define key terms of this debate and set the parameters, and then I will give two solid points why we believe prosecuting Jammeh is essential to national healing. I will then preemptively rebut an opposing argument, and then I will summarize and conclude. To begin with, Mr. Speaker, Oxford Languages Dictionary defines prosecution as the legal process of bringing charges against someone for accountability in a court of law. According to Cambridge
1
Dictionary,
minute is gone.
essential means absolutely necessary or extremely important. National healing is defined by UNDP in its article titled Healing Fractured Communities as the process by which a country recovers from conflict by addressing past wrongs. In the context of this debate, to set the parameters, we focus on national healing process after TRC's report in 2021. We will measure national healing by how Gambians feel about the emotional, psychological, and institutional harm caused by former President Yahya Jammeh's regime. We exclude economic recovery and regional diplomacy because these can progress independently of accountability or justice efforts. Moving to my points, Mr. Speaker, prosecuting Jammeh ensures justice for his victims. If we're talking about healing, we have to start with the people that are most hurt. We know that thousands of Gambians were hurt physically, emotionally, and psychologically under Jammeh's regime. People were detained without trial, they were tortured, they were raped, some disappeared, and some were even killed. So the victims, what did they ask for? They asked for justice in order to truly heal. This justice requires prosecuting Jammeh. For example, let's look at Fatou Diallo, who publicly accused Jammeh of rape. He said that facing her abuser in a court of law would help her truly move on. So this proves that prosecuting Jammeh is essential in her healing and by extension, that of the nation. So we're not pushing for prosecution out of revenge or anything. We're doing so to recognize the pain of his victims because we have to recognize that national healing starts with their healing, right? So moving to my second point, uh, prosecuting Jammeh is essential to building trust in the country's justice system, right? Mr. Speaker, healing also means fixing broken institutions, and you will agree with me that one of the systems that have been broken under Jammeh's regime was the justice system. If we let him walk free after everything, his victims and Gambians in general will not trust our courts. They will not trust our laws. They will not trust our democracy. Many Gambians feel like justice does not work in Gambia. In a 2021 Barometer survey, only 38% of Gambians said that they trusted the justice system. That means most people doubt the very institutions that are meant to protect them. Prosecuting Jammeh is a way to change that. It sends a message that the system can work and that it can protect victims of abuse. If we want people to believe in justice system again in Gambia, we must show it in actions, not just in words, right? Furthermore, the sorry, Mr. Speaker, prosecuting Jammeh is necessary for national healing because fixing the justice system that he broke is essential for our healing, and prosecuting him does that for us, for Gambians, for his victims. Um,
POI.
Furthermore, moreover, people may even argue that prosecution will divide us as a country because Gambia still has many loyalists in the Gambia. But let's face it, Gambians are already divided, and in fact, holding him accountable um, will, in a way, uh, solve that problem of division because it is only in treating the past correctly and holding people that are responsible accountable that we can truly unite. We cannot have sustainable unity unless we deal with the past by correcting its wrongs, right? If we avoid persecution because in the name of peace or unity, then it's like covering a wound that is already infected inside. On the outside, it may really look okay, but on the inside, it is getting worse. So, Mr. Speaker, I have started by defining key terms of this debate and setting parameters.
POI.
And I gave two solid points. I'm not taking any POI. I gave two solid points, which are that prosecuting Jammeh ensures justice for his victims, and that it is necessary for building trust in the country's justice system. I also did a preemptive rebuttal on the fact that on an opposition point that may arise, which is persecution will divide us as a country. And then to which I said that sustainable unity
You
comes
have a
from
minute more.
and holding people accountable. And now I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Awakonte. If the House is set, can we please hear from the opposition leader from Saudi Arabia? You can please tell us your name before you start. Thank you.
Right. Can I confirm if I'm audible, please?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, my name is Abdullah Job, and I am representing Saudi Arabia as the opposition leader. Mr. Speaker, I stand on the conventions of this distinguished House to firmly oppose today's motion. As the leader of the opposition, I will begin by outlining the structure of my argument. First, I will respond to the motion, challenge the definition and scope set by the government bench, and provide a counter framework. I will then present our stance, followed by three strong arguments. Additionally, I will refute the main points raised by the Prime Minister and their team. Finally, I will summarize. Finally, I will summarize and end my speech with a powerful conclusion. The motion frames prosecution as essential to national healing, meaning that healing is not possible without it. We reject this absolutist framing. Healing in post-conflict societies is multidimensional, involving truth-telling, reparations, and societal reconciliation, not just punitive justice. We offer a counter framework which is built on restorative justice, a model that centers victims' voices, promotes national dialogue, and avoids the dangers of political backlash.
We have a
It's
minute
important
more.
it's important to make our stance clear because this is a very sensitive topic. We on the opposition bench argue that while accountability is important, the path to healing does not require prosecution. We propose a more unifying, realistic, and peaceful approach, one that values healing over revenge. And I'll move to my main points. The first point is prosecution could undermine stability and reignite division. The Gambia remains politically fragile. Yahya Jammeh still commands a loyal support base, especially in regions like Foni and Kanilai, where recent protests call for his return. A divisive trial could be seen as political persecution, risking unrest. According to the International Crisis Group in 2021, calls for Jammeh's return have already triggered communal tensions, warning that moves to prosecute could destabilize the country if not handled inclusively. Thus, prosecution may reverse years of hard and peace and democratic process. And I'll move to my second point. The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, TRRC, was a nationally accepted platform where victims testified live on air, confronting their abusers and finding acknowledgement. The Gambia Ministry of Justice reported that over 94% of victims said they felt heard and validated by the TRRC process. This level of victim engagement and visibility shows that meaningful healing is already underway without a trial. Then to my third point, if even if prosecution is pursued, Jammeh currently resides in Equatorial Guinea, a nation with no extradition agreement with the Gambia. Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International confirm that Equatorial Guinea refuses to extradite former heads of state, citing sovereignty concerns. This means prosecution may take years or fail entirely, leaving victims in prolonged suspense and deepening public frustration. Then I'll move to the rebuttals. Prosecution confirms justice or ensures justice. Yes, but only when it's achievable. Empty promises of justice without results erode public trust. Victims deserve closure. They do, and many already found it through the TRRC's process of public testimony, reconciliation, and compensation. Prosecutions they might claim, or the next speaker might claim that prosecution deters future autocrats. I will preempt. What deters abuse is system reform, free media, and judicial independence, not a single symbolic trial. To summarize, I challenge the government's narrow framing of healing as dependent on prosecution. I proposed an alternative framework grounded in restorative justice. I presented three strong counter-arguments. Prosecution may destabilize the country. The TRRC already provided a healing process, and prosecution may fail due to geopolitical barriers. I also refuted key claims made by the government bench with realistic and evidence-based responses. Mr. Speaker, prosecution is not essential for national healing. The Gambia has already taken critical steps towards peace, reconciliation, and justice through community-centered methods. We must not sacrifice unity for vengeance. We must not jeopardize peace for symbolism. With that said, I now rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Abdullah Juf. Do we have the Deputy Prime Minister from Morocco? If you're set, the house is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Lady Jallo. I would first like to confirm if I'm audible and visible at the same time.
Yes, you're audible and you're visible.
Thank you very much. I begin. Esteemed judges, honorable members of this noble house, and my worthy opponents, I greet you all in the way of peace by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hereby present myself as the Prime Minister to address this noble gathering why the prosecution of former President Yahya Jammeh is essential for national healing. Esteemed members, honorable judges, and members of this House, I will begin by first rebuting some of the opposition's unconvincing stance that prosecuting former President Jammeh for his heinous crimes is not essential for national healing, or should I just reframe it, are not the steps or the only steps that are necessary for national healing. To strengthen the Prime Minister's point and give two additional reasons why prosecution is necessary or and it is essential, and then I conclude. Mr. Speaker, the opposition mentioned that healing, among the process of healing that are different from prosecution, is actually hearing from the victims and also setting up reparation processes. I mean, how sensible is that? Yes, it may work for some victims because not all victims are hurt in the same way. It may work for some victims, but not all the victims. I mean, imagine those who they have lost their lives in this process. Those like the journalist Data Haidara or Solo Sandeng, for example. I mean, how can we just ignore these people, their fight for justice and system reform by just compensation to their families? I mean, where does that even lead us to? I mean, prosecution is something that, it is very essential. And we as a Gambia, we need to uphold that to the standards of our Gambian way to make sure that we have a reform and that such things are not repeated again. He also mentioned that TRC report, according from the Ministry of Justice, showed that victims only victims felt relief by their testimonies during the TRC hearing. I mean, that is a way, that is part of how's it called, a way of national healing. But does it fully address all the underlying statement in that case? No, it doesn't. How can I just come here, just giving out what I felt about something, be enough as a way of national healing? If there is no justice, not every victim can be satisfied. I mean, how is it actually logical that most of the victims have endured some of the actually heinous crimes and only will be how's it called, and only expected to be released just by saying that we endured this thing and then this is and this and this and this and this is what happened. And how about those that actually lost their lives? How is this actually speaking out going to bring them back?
You're right.
I know it's not going to bring them back, but we need to bring. Thank you very much. We need to set up systems that will actually address these issues. And one of them is that the prosecution of Jammeh will be essential. And not just by prosecuting, we need to prosecute him and also make sure we set up reforms and ways in which we know it will prevent a further national division. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister mentioned that prosecution ensures justice for victims. When people are wounded, they don't ask for silence, they ask for justice. The TRRC said it clearly. Without prosecution, reconciliation is at risk. When victims see justice, they feel seen. They begin to heal, and the nation heals with them. The testimonies of some of the victims during the TRRC sit-ins are also a clear manifestation of the hurt the victims endured, physically, mentally, and psychologically. Mr. Speaker, accountability builds trust in the system. Holding Jammeh accountable will not only ensure that we don't just have a justice system, but we have a justice system that we can count on to uphold justice for the victims of any crime against any leader of the nation. I thereby delve into my point, one of my points. Prosecution will lead to reconciliation. Prosecuting Jammeh can facilitate broader process of truthfulness. This will allow our society to confront the past and acknowledge the atrocities committed under the Jammeh 22-year rule. And we can work towards as a collective to understanding our history as Gambians. This process is vital for national healing as it encourages dialogue and fosters a sense of community among Gambians. When people can openly discuss their experiences and grievances, it paves the way for reconciliation and unity. Mr. Speaker, and going on to my second point is that prosecuting Jammeh will prevent future abuse of power. Mr. Speaker, national healing isn't just about the past. It's about making sure that the wounds of the past don't open up again tomorrow. To move forward as a one nation, people must feel that the state will never engage in such abuses.
UI.
Prosecution means that, yes,
What happens if Jammeh is acquitted or the trial fails? Will that bring healing or reopen wounds?
I think that is a very good question, Mr. Speaker, in regards to the opposition. If the trial fails, but who said the trial will fail? We never said it will succeed. We will never say it will fail. But the only way the trial will fail is that when we don't set up very good measures with regards to how the trials will carry out. I mean, for example, as I will give your response clearly within my this thing, within my this second point, the trial will not fail. Actually, we need to set up boundaries. I think the current government really started the process by trying to set up a tribunal with regards to a support from the ECOWAS. In that way, they will set up a hybrid court with regards to prosecuting Jammeh, and not just Jammeh, but all those that are involved in the how's it called that are involved in committing these heinous crimes. And I continue. To move forward as a nation, people must feel the state will never engage in such abuses. Prosecution makes the province realize
You have a minute more.
it tells the next generation never again. If Jammeh is not prosecuted, what are we telling the next president or any leader in the country? That they can torture, steal, even kill, and still retire in peace. That's a dangerous message. It tells leaders they are above the law, and that should worry us all as Gambians. When leaders see their colleagues face real consequences, it changes how they behave. In Liberia, for example, the lack of accountability after the civil war led to continued corruption and abuse because no one was punished after the past crimes. The same mistake cannot happen in the Gambia. We have a chance to break the cycle, so let's break it. Another example is that, let's look at an example in Chad. Former dictator Hassan Habare was prosecuted decades after his rule, and it was a turning point for victims and justice systems and the justice system. It showed that even the powerful leaders can be held accountable and it restored public confidence. So prosecution is forward-looking. It's about setting a standard, and the abuse of power will never
Your
again
time
be
is up.
tolerated.
You have just 15 seconds.
I conclude, Mr. Speaker, we do not want another Jammeh, and the best way to make sure of that is to hold this one accountable. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, honorable judges and members of this House,
Your time
prosecuting
is
Jammeh
up.
will
Your
enter
time
national
is up.
crimes
Thank
of
you so much.
national value and the Prime Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Idrissa. If the House is set, can we please hear from the Deputy Opposition Leader from Saudi Arabia? You can please tell us your name.
Hello?
Yes, Honorable, you're audible.
I'm audible. Okay, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Speaker, honorable judges, esteemed opponents, and all present. I am Mohammed Fafanin Tarawale from Saudi side. It's a great honor to stand before you as the deputy leader of the opposition in this important way. As the deputy leader of the opposition, my task is to enforce our stance, expand our arguments, and carefully respond to the flow in the government's case. To begin, I will briefly restate our position. I'll briefly restate our position and the framework set by my leader. Then I will present three strong points to support our opposition to the motion. Next, I will directly challenge the major points raised by the Prime Minister and their deputy. From there, I will summarize and then finally conclude. Mr. Speaker, we on the opposition side strongly disagree with the idea that prosecuting Jammeh is essential for national healing. Our framework explains clearly. My leader focuses on truth,
You have a minute
peace,
more.
and real reconciliation over political drama or punishment. We believe that healings in the Gambia should focus on victims, look towards the future, and be driven by peace, not just one man's trial. Let me now turn to our first argument to show why this approach is deeply problematic. First, prosecutions could delay justice. Mr. Speaker, Yahya Jammeh is currently residing in Equatorial Guinea, a country that has no extradition agreement with the Gambia. This means that any prosecution may be delayed for years or may never happen at all. During that time, victims will continue waiting with no closure. Meanwhile, the TRRC has allowed over a good number of victims to testify at the reparations, and the reparations have begun. In Uganda, victims of the LRA similarly preferred community reparations and recognitions over long distance for court trials. Justice delayed is justice denied, and Jammeh's prosecutions risks doing just that. Second, prosecutions risk politicizing justice. Mr. Speaker, prosecuting Yahya Jammeh in today's climate may do more harm than good. His supporters are still highly active, especially in Foni and Kanilai, where mass rallies in 2021 and 2022 called for his return. In such a politically polarized environment, any trial could be seen as a form of revenge, not justice. In Kenya, after the 2007 post-elections violence, ICC prosecution became politicized, that they worsened tribal divisions and damaged the credibility of the entire justice process. The Gambia is at a similar risk. Instead of uniting people, Jammeh's prosecutions could reignite old hostilities and slow down democratic recovery. Third, legal and historical barriers exist. The Gambian constitution gives certain protections to former head states, unless those protections are removed, a process that is far from straightforward. Additionally, consider the case of Charles Taylor of Liberia. He was prosecuted by the same lawyers now operating in the Gambia. And while justice was eventually served, his trial took years and created serious political tensions across West Africa. This shows that even when prosecution succeeds, it can come at a high cost, one that the Gambia may not be ready to bear right now. Having outlined our key arguments, I will now respond directly to the government's bench. They claim that not all victims benefit from our approach. Our approach prioritizes truth, reparations, and reform, tools that have heavily reached hundreds of victims through the TRRC. It offers real closure now rather than uncertain justice years. Secondly, the Deputy Prime Minister claimed accountability requires accountability prosecutions. Accountability isn't just about punishment. It is about naming perpetrators, and preventing future abuse. The TRRC has already provided a way that is accessible and unifying. Okay, let me take your PY.
I ask you, is the fear for hostility coming from Jammeh's loyalists greater than giving victims justice and closure?
Can you come again?
You talked about the fear of hostility from Jammeh's loyalists. So I'm asking, is the fear for that hostility greater than giving victims the justice and healing they deserve?
No doubt that Mr. Jammeh has done a lot of bad stuff in the Gambia. But in Gambian context, the situation in the Gambia right now, for us to sacrifice peace, reparations, and all other stuff just to prosecute Yahya Jammeh, I think is a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, I won't take any more of POI. At this point, we must ask, why prosecuting Yahya Jammeh brings real justice or justice delayed? Can a trial unite the nation, or might it deepen the divide? Are there better, more peaceful ways to heal our country? Before I conclude, Let me briefly summarize my contribution to this debate. Mr. Speaker, I restated our team's opposition to the motion and supported it with three strong arguments. I also challenged the government's points by showing the truth reform and reparations of a more realistic and less risky path to healing. Mr. Speaker, as I include, let us remember, healing is not just about punishment. It is about building a future. The Gambia needs unity, not further division. It needs real closure, no distant legal battle. Justice must come hand in hand with peace, and that is only possible if we invest in truth,
15 seconds.
institutional reforms, and meaningful support for victims. That is the healing path we believe in. For these reasons, we on the opposition bench proudly reject these motions. With that, I now yield the floor.
Your time is up. Thank you so much, Honorable Mohammed. Thank you, everyone. You all gave great submissions. It was a well-contested debate. And to those that have attended the debate, thank you so much for your time. So the debate has ended. In case anyone has a contribution that they want to make or anything you have to say, then we can have some discussions. Thank you so much. The house is open for discussions.
You may please raise your hand if you want to contribute. Please let it be connected to the motion and then no personal attack, please. Thank you. Yes, Ms. Ambu. Thank you very much, Mr. Mbu. Can we have Mohammed Eba?
Mustafa or Muhammad?
Oh, sorry, Mustafa Eba.
If possible, regarding what Bo just said, I think like we will want to talk about some of the debaters and debunk their points. The fact is like we cannot influence the adjudicators. They already know what to do. So I think he should leave the space open. We give in our points regarding everything. Now. Okay, but then we can bring in the points and debunk the points without mentioning about them. So
Mbo, just a minute.
Do you think,
like Mustafa?
Do you think that no?
I think what he's trying to say is that like you can talk about that particular point, but do not mention or do not like mention the person's name. Because all the debaters have discussed about the same motion. So obviously we are going to talk about the same thing.
Okay, that is understood.
Yeah, so you can please. Thank you.
No, I will come in for my point in a few minutes time. I just wanted to make some clarifications on that.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Sadio A.K. Jaju.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much, Mommy, for letting me in. Yeah, so straight, the motion that was tabled reads, this House believes that the prosecution of former President Yahya Jammeh is essential for national healing. And I think as far as this motion is concerned, and if as far as my contributions are concerned, I think it would go in two phases, and that is with regards to the national healing, because as convention dictates, or as we would hear from most of the debaters, citing some countries when it comes to like the issue of justice and things like that. Yeah, so most of the people might say like the prosecution of the former president Yahya Jammeh is essential for national healing, because like when it comes to the aspect of justice, it is actually a critical pillar of reconciliation. And I think that is why, as far as the Gambian setting is concerned, at some point we had the issue of the TRRC and things like that. And in this TRRC, some of the things, like a lot of things were featured. Like we had that during like Yahya Jammeh's 22-year rule, like he had been accused of grave human, rights violations that included some extrajudicial killings per se, torture at some point, and of course you had some enforced disappearances and corruption. So, but all in all, one thing that stands out as far as all these things are concerned, most of the people, when they talk about it, one thing that we would say is that allegedly, like he was alleged that he did this, he was alleged that he did this. And for the people, for law students or for the people of law, if English would allow me to use that, they'll tell you every person is innocent until proven guilty before a competent court of law. So essentially looking at it, I think when it comes to the side of accountability and things like that, that side ought to be considered. Like, for example, the victims and their families deserve certain stuff. But again, when it comes to to counter the other side, which is to say that talking about the same motion, saying that this House believes that the prosecution of former President Jammeh is essential for national healing. So if we are saying it's not essential for national healing, I think even though most of us would cite the issue of accountability as being very important, but again, the prosecution of Jammeh may not be the most effective path to national healing, because pursuing a trial could further divide an already fragile society, especially when Jammeh still retains loyal supporters who may view the move as politically motivated. Because we all know, like many of us from the Gambia will tell you, okay, Jammeh still had that support as far as, let's say, West Coast is concerned, for you to be particular. And even for the records, in 2016, during the presidential elections, when all the regions were tabulated, he won in West Coast region. So it shows that he still have some of that support. So I think national healing may instead require a more like restrictive approach, like focusing on forgiveness. As Gambians, we believe that, I don't want to bring in the issue of Islam, but then a religion per se. But again, we are coming from a cultured society, and as individuals that believe in the power of forgiveness, dialogue and reconciliation, we could have gone for that rather than punishment at some point. So, and again, like when you go to countries like South Africa, they have shown that healing is possible through truth telling and reparations. I mean, so without extensive criminal prosecution. And finally, to say, like, the complex legal, political, and diplomatic challenges of prosecuting a former head of state currently in exile, because Yajame is already in Equatorial Guinea, could drain national resources and attention from pressing development and governance priorities. What do I mean by this? We had, let's say, Jame left since 2017, I'd say in January. But up to now, most of us are still talking about some of the things that he did. And as a matter of fact, the government of the day at some point, most of us would complain that they're not delivering to expectations, that they've been there for almost 8 years now. And all that most of us would be talking about, especially in the opposition side, would be like, okay, Jame this, as if we still have Jame to do some of those things happen and whatnot. So looking at it, I believe that, like, this motion should be approached judiciously. Both sides of the Achillean should be looked at, and we make a balance as far as it is concerned. On that note, I rest my case. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sadio Jaju. Now I would like to call on Mr. Jamanti. If you know.
Thank you very much. Let me off this to go. Thank you very much, Khadija. I would like to contribute on the topic. The House believes the prosecution of former President Yahya Jammeh is essential for national healing. As a chemist, I know that applying the wrong reagent to a sensitive compound does not yield the reaction we expect. Similarly, prosecuting former Yahya Jammeh may seem like a logical reaction for justice, but it may catalyze instability instead of what? Reconciliation. And I believe that there are alternative ways in which we can use to do what? Dialogue. Like we can use dialogue, storytelling, and also a reconciliation and genuine effort instead of what? Prosecution. Because prosecution, we are only placing focus on one individual. And that can cause what? That can cause societal trauma among the supporters of what? The president, and it can cause what? Political instability in the country. Because Jammeh is not currently in Gambia, but he has influence in the country, and it is dictating. He is dictating the political system of the Gambia. So prosecuting Jammeh will cause more harm to the Gambians than the reverse. And also the resources that we are going to use if we want to prosecute Gambia. Jammeh is at Equatorial Guinea. So prosecuting Jammeh will cost us a lot of resources, and also Gambia and Equatorial Guinea, if there is no connection between them, that geopolitics can also serve as a problem to us. And I believe that there are other ways we can use, like that can foster deep healing instead of courtroom. Healing requires unity, and unity is not always born in the courtroom. So we can use other ways, dialogue. We can use dialogue to do healing, and also we can use truth telling and reconciliation instead of prosecution. So that is my point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yabu. Now I would like to call on Mr. Abdullah Tarawale.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for letting me in this wonderful debate. The motion actually is very interesting, but I believe we have to treat this motion with sensitive care. First of all, the thing that I want to say is that when people trust you and leave the country or the nation in your hand, the most important thing that you need to do is to deliver as much as you can to people's expectation. No one is perfect, but Yaya Jammeh has actually done the contrary. People expected that he could do better when it comes to the development and to take care of the country. he did what he could, but he actually did so many damages. And for the Gambia not actually pursuing to prosecute this man, it's like we are acting out of cowardness or even scared or afraid. And to tell you the truth, Gambia or no development can actually go ahead under fear or scared or stuff like that.
It is a Indian boy. Man daal dama dee jubóo ak gars yi.
nam ñu faj nam ñu faj nam ñu faj time no dee.
Emel pare nga loo julli. Yes, Aisha, welcome back. Okay, she has gone again. Oh my God. Hello, Aisha.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes. Good afternoon and welcome back.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can I go ahead with the feedback or? All right. Good afternoon once again. So, like I've said earlier, the debate was well contested. Participants did extremely well, and it really shows that you all did a great job with the research and you've handled the topic well. However, I will be giving individual feedbacks, and the results as well will be shared. So, to start with the Prime Minister, she was the first speaker from Morocco, our Conte. She gave a structure which she followed. She defined the key terms, gave a reference, set the parameter, give 2 points, and which were to ensure justice, and also people will not build trust in the justice system. So she explained the points well. However, a POI was asked, which she did not answer. And throughout her presentation, she did not answer any POI. So if you do not answer a POI, you lose 5 marks because 5 marks is allocated for POI. But overall, it was a good submission. You explained the points really well. So to the opposition leader from Saudi Arabia, which is Honorable Abdullah Juf, Honorable Abdullah gave a very, very good submission. The points were really good. He gave really good points. The divisions, the destabilization that will happen, and then prosecution will fail as well. And he even talked about the tiaras. He has already done that. So those were really good points. You gave very, very good points. But the problem with Abdullah debated on the debated. So we have 7 minutes, like 7 minutes 15 seconds. So as a debater, you have to try and finish that. Even if you cannot debate for the entire 7 minutes, but at least you can debate for maybe 6 minutes plus. That is better. But Abdullah debated less, so he debated for 4 minutes some seconds, less than 5 minutes. So you had 2 minutes 36 seconds remaining. So I think that was too much. It would have been best if you had debated more, but you gave really, really good points, and then your points were very logical, and your flow was very good. So debate was very coherent, but then Honorable Abdullah on the debated. You also did a great job by giving an alternative. So to the Deputy Prime Minister, which was Idrissa. So Idrissa exhausted his time. However, some of the points were not well explained. But the debate was a very good one. It was a good submission. And you also accepted a POI. But when you exhausted your time, so you did not like summarize. But it was a good debate. You strengthened the points of your partner. You did your rebuttals, and you as well gave your points. So the last speaker from the opposition side, which was Mr. Muhammad. So you as well strengthened your rebuttals, but at some point I felt like you spent so much time strengthening. Yeah. So overall, it was a very good debate. Both teams debated really well.
I think he's struggling for network. Aisha? Hello, Aisha, can you hear me? Amen.
Audible?
Yes.
I'm sorry, the network is really not good here. I hope
Yeah,
I'm
I
audible.
suspected that. You are now audible, please. You may proceed.
Okay. All right. So that is it. Both teams debated really well, and I would encourage you all to continue debating. And this is a competition. You're going to have a winner, and we're also going to have a loser. But then, at the end of the day, you're all winners. So I want you to continue debating. Never stop debating. In speaking, you'll be hard, like they will say. So to the results, we have Saudi Arabia, which scored 68, and then Morocco scored 69. So Morocco will proceed to the finals. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Awa, and thank you very much for joining us today. Congratulations to all participants. Now I would like to call on Ms. Fatmata Fati to give a closing remark on behalf of Masane. Fatmata, if you are with us, you may please come and give us closing remarks.
Good evening from this side. Am I audible enough?
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, gratitude to the Gambian Student Association in India for this debate, and a special thank you to the judges for their expertise, to the participants for their insightful contributions, and to everyone in attendance. This discussion is a crucial step in remembering and supporting the victims. It is through this conversation that we keep the memories of the victims alive and strive for a world where such tragedies are never repeated. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Fatmata Fati. Now, the debate is officially closed. Join us for the final. We'll be communicating the date to all of you soon, inshallah. Thank you very much to Team Morocco. Thank you, Team Saudi Arabia. We could see that all of you were on exam, but then we give it a try. Thank you so much. We really appreciate